welcome or welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Katharine, and in today's video, I'll be talking about my May TBR or to be read list. I can't believe May is already here. It's finally defrosting here in New England, and there's no snow, no cold weather. It's finally in like the 50s and 60s, and the sun is out. It's not rainy like it was in April. April showers bring May flowers, I guess that's what the saying is. But my seasonal depression is gone, and I finally feel happier, and I want to be outside doing things. But let's just get into the books I want to read in May. So my April reading wrap-up will be coming out soon. So you'll see that I read the first 4 books in the Anne of Green Gables series. So, of course, in the month of May, I want to finish up reading the Anne of Green Gables series. So I have the last 4 books in the Anne of Green Gables series. So it is Anne's House of Dreams, Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside. There is like an unofficial, I guess, 9th book in the series. L.M. Montgomery, who wrote the Anne of Green Gables series, did start writing the 9th book in the Anne of Green Gables series, but unfortunately she passed away in the middle of writing that, and someone else I think finished it for her. I don't know what the title of the book is, but I'm interested in seeing if I want to read that or not, because I don't know if it was intended for publishing. Well, I guess if she was like going and writing that anyways, and then she just happened to die, I guess she was intending on publishing it anyway, so I'll have to see like what it's all about and if I want to read it and just go from there. But I have here Anne's House of Dreams, which I think apparently is about Anne getting married. I'm not going to say to who because that will have spoilers in it, and I'm not too sure what the rest of these books are about, because in each book it basically follows like a different life event in Anne's life. So of course we have Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside. So I'm interested in getting to those books in the month of May. And then I wanted to read Bob Goff's Everybody Always, because for those who don't know, I've been trying to read like 1 nonfiction per month and 1 classic per month. So the Anne of Green Gables series is considered to be my classic for the month. Those are 4 books, so do the classic times 4 if you really want to give me some bonus points. But Everybody Always by Bob Goff will be my like nonfiction for the month. I plan on getting this on audiobook because for some reason I just like listening to nonfiction books on audio. But I'm not too sure what this is about. I just heard really great things about it. If you've read this book, please let me know what you thought of it. And then these last 2 books that I have on this TBR or to be read list for the month of May were actually on my list last month, but I just never ended up getting to them in April. So those are The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham and The Scarlet Thread by Francine Rivers. I actually have started The Scarlet Thread by Francine Rivers already. I am about 75% of the way through this, and I will be considering it a May read because I'm finishing it in May. I did start it in April, but I'm finishing it in May, so it will be in my May reading wrap-up. But since I've already started it, I guess I'll tell you a little bit more in depth of what it's about. So essentially what this is about is, it is like a dual timeline. It's basically like about this woman who is having marriage difficulties in the year, I think maybe, I don't even know what the year is honestly, but it's supposed to be like modern times. And she's just having difficulties in her relationship and her marriage. And then it also follows another girl who is living in the 50s, I believe, and she is also experiencing like a lot of the things that the modern woman is going through in that timeline, and apparently they're related. And the girl who is living in the 1850s is writing in a journal, and so we get her perspective through journal entries, which is really interesting. And then we of course get like the modern timeline with that woman like just in like a regular like novel fiction format. I don't know how else to describe that. From the description, like the synopsis that I read on the back of the book of The Scarlet Thread by Francine Rivers, it kind of made me think that they were communicating through a journal, like these two women through different times. I thought it was going to be more of like a time bending type story, but it's not. It's just that there are, you know, literary, or I don't know what that term is. What is it? Epistolary? That's the word. That's the word I was looking for. It has epistolary aspects to it with like the journal entries from the woman who is in the 1850s. So it's interesting like seeing the epistolary aspects to it, seeing the woman from the 1850s writing in her journal, and that's how like we view her through those journal entries, and then also seeing the modern woman and through like the just regular fiction writing of this book, novel. I don't even know how to describe that, but basically like we see these two women, and like even though they are like related, like I think the woman in the 1850s was like the great whatever grandmother of the modern woman, and it's kind of cool how like you see, even though they live like a century or two apart and they are having very similar experiences to each other. So I'm really liking that so far, and I'm definitely going to be finishing this in May. I just really love Francine Rivers' writing because she just writes, even though it's a chunky book, she writes things that are so deep and so moving, and every time I've read a Francine Rivers book, it just like makes me like double think like how I act in my own day-to-day life, and like how I should be better going forward in like my Christian walk, because she is a Christian fiction author. For those who don't know, she's one of my favorite Christian fiction authors of all time actually, and she just writes very solid books. They are slow. Like sometimes you're reading her books and you're like, what is even the point of why she's writing this, and why is it so drawn out? But then by the end of the book, you're just like, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense. Like that's the thought that I've always had in each and every one of her books. I'm like, why are these so long? Why is this book the way that it is? Why is it so drawn out? Why is there so much detail? But then by the end of the book, like the last 25% of it, you're like, it's clicking. Like you're like, oh my gosh, that's why she was talking so much about this or that or whatever else she was mentioning. It just all makes sense, and all of her books have been 5 stars for me, like every single one of her books, because by the end of each book, I'm just like so touched and moved by like whatever she's talking about. Actually, I'm lying. One of her books was actually 3 stars. The Lineage of Grace, like little like novella series that she has, that was 3 stars for me because of the fact that like I'm not a big fan of like biblical fiction when it comes to like real life characters, or not real life characters, real life people out of the Bible. I did like her Mark of the Lion series, or trilogy I should say, because even though it was biblical times, it wasn't actually about like people from the Bible. It was like loosely based on Bible times, if that makes sense. Like I can ride along with that, but like when it comes to like actual Bible people, I have a hard time like getting around that. So that's why I gave that particular like bind up of her novellas like 3 stars. But for the most part, most of her books have been 5 stars, and I'm getting to the point in this book where I feel like it's going to be a 5 stars for me. I have to get to that clicking point of like understanding why she's describing certain things the way that she is. But definitely going to be finishing the Scarlet Thread by Francine Rivers this month. And then this is the other book that I had on my April TBR or to be read list that I did not get to, and that's The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham. Essentially, this is like a cross between like what I've heard described to me as like Romeo and Juliet and Sleepless in Seattle. Not Sleepless in Seattle. It's You've Got Mail. I don't know why I keep on getting Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail mixed up, but basically this is a cross between You've Got Mail and Romeo and Juliet. I also heard that it might have some aspects of like Phantom of the Opera, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm really excited to get to this. I have actually started this book too as well. From what I read on the back of this book, the synopsis, it's a historical Christian fiction book, and it takes place in 1924, and like I mentioned, it's between like two rivaling families, and that's where like the Romeo and Juliet situation comes into play, and they communicate through letters in a tree, hence why it's called The Letter Tree. And I can't wait to get to this. I read the first I haven't even read the first chapter. I just read like the prologue, and it seems pretty good. I did read one book by Rachel Fordham back in like November, and that was Where the Road Bends, and I wasn't a big fan of that. Like, I was very disappointed. I heard someone say to me that Where the Road Bends by Rachel Fordham was very similar to Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, and Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, for those who don't know, is like one of my favorite books of all time. So if you're going to compare a book to that, it better be close and it better be good. And it just did not meet that mark. It wasn't even really that similar, and it also wasn't as good. So I was really disappointed in that book. I did enjoy it-ish. I gave it, I think, like 3.5-ish stars. But I wanted to try like one or two more of Rachel Fordham's books because of the fact like I wanted to give her a chance. I'll always give like an author like 2 or 3 chances before I like officially give up on them. So I'm hoping to get to The Letter Tree by her this month. And hopefully if I like this, I'll try more of her books, because I have heard she's like a great Christian historical fiction author. So hopefully I like this. It seems like something I would like. I read the prologue like I mentioned, and it seemed decent, so can't wait to get to the rest of it. But yeah, those are the books that I plan on reading in the month of May. Please let me know if you've read any of these books and if they were any good, and if there's any books on this list that I mentioned that you also want to get to, please let me know that as well. But thank you so much for following along on this video today. Do all the YouTube things that you know how to do. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!